What is up, miners? Been trying to get this video up for a while. It has been a crazy weekend. Sorry for the potato mic. I'm trying to fix that for an hour. I am not a streamer. So, I want to talk today a little bit about just mining in general. Maybe some things that have become somewhat dogmatic, and how to kind of poke around because now is the time of year to do that for a home miner, especially because we're heating. Um, with our miners instead of our electric heaters. So, in a way, um, which is different, than a business miner, industrial miner. For the home miner, we're utilizing the things that we have and adding expenses on top to do this mining. So, if I'm not using my electric heat and my miners are the exact same wattage as my home heater, in effect, I'm mining for free from the perspective of my budget. So now is the time to experiment, kind of play around, see what you can do. So um, I think we all kind of know, in general, solo versus pool, pay per last number of shares, pay per shares, um, these types of things. So um, try to gamify mining a bit and see what holds up and see what doesn't. So let's take a look at Radiant. That's what I've been doing most recently, but the point of this video is really to show you what I've been doing since last winter. So we had the merge in September. We're all making some bank. That collapsed. So took a few weeks off, cleaned up some rigs, just kind of looked around, and the timing of that rolled right into winter. So a lot of people shut off. It was kind of interesting to see where different hash rates migrated. It was at the same time that, oh gosh, ASICs were pretty good on Ethash, so ETC kind of became not so good for GPUs, but you can hit some blocks without spending a lot of time on the network, and that's kind of what I'd like to talk about. I started out with Raven and ETC, soloing last winter, and kind of came up with what works, what doesn't, and here's kind of what I've come up with. So we take a look at Radiant. Which through the summer I've been mining with a Lithium, low watt algos. I'm in Texas, I'm in the home. So don't really do the high watts too much, although today it is going to get down in the 40s for the first time. So very excited about that. Crack some windows open and let's turn these babies up. But let's just talk about networks in general. So I want to mine Radiant. There's a lot of ways to approach mining. There's mathematical ways. There's statistics. You can move those around and make them say whatever you want. Our goal is to find as many blocks as we can in the shortest period of time. That's kind of the angle that we'll view this from. So come over here to the full site we're pretty much all familiar with, mining pool stats. Just check our network. All right, well, we're at 85 terahash. So pull over here. That is my personal pool. Feel free to chuck at it. No, just kidding. We're on Viper, pretty good pool. He's on Discord a lot, helps people out, and had zero problems out of it so far. So doing 11 gigahash over time, 10.5. So we're just going to do 10 for some quick math. So we're at 89 terahash. I'm doing 10 gigahash. I'm like way over here, right? So I'm 189,351th of the network. RxD. Okay, what's our block time? Every 300 seconds. 60 seconds in a minute, that's 5 minutes. Into 60 minutes in an hour, that's 12 blocks per hour. times 24, so that's 240 plus 48, so 288. So roughly 300 blocks per day if we're just kind of moving stuff around back of the napkin type math. So we can then go into, let's see, some different pools. So this is a good site I don't see around much, but it's pretty awesome. It pulls in out of MinerStat and I think CoinGecko. But just a statistics page. One thing that you'll notice is different here. For mining pool stats, we got Viper.net. Okay, we got Solo. All right, well, they have a Solo pool, and they have that. Same here. There's no real differentiation in the hash rate reporting. Oh no, what have we done? Preview. Okay, so we can come down here. What is nice is start to see some statistics. So I already should have pulled off of here a couple days ago. I didn't, kind of for the purpose of this video. So it's been 1.3, 1.4. Let's chart it. So you can see this particular Solo pool itself is going up in hash rate. Right. So look around. There's a lot more data than the standard, hash rate. No, I don't know. They change every few months with sponsorships. But there's a lot of good resources online. Don't necessarily have to stick with what's popular. But as we look at the pools, 90 terahash. This one's a little over half, getting 47 out of the last 100 up, or a little under half, excuse me. So what are we looking for? We're looking for Solo pools to tie into that have the best chance at that time. So if we go to pool mining, we can see over an average, we're all going to average out. So the argument, okay, well, pool mining is no different than Solo mining in your payout over time. You're just going to average out. Well, if you turned onto a Solo pool, in general, mathematically, theoretically, that is true, and you do see that played out over larger numbers. What I'm telling you is over a shorter period of time, that is not true, and across all networks, that is not true. So one of the first ones, I don't have data to back this up, so it's just story time. Caspa. So back when it was on GPUs, it was around, I don't even remember, but it was pretty silly. 1.4, 1.5 petahash. I could just leave GPUs steady on Caspa, and my luck would be under 80% average over very long periods of time, weeks and months. So many blocks per day. Sorry, it's a little bit all over the place. We're trying to cover the totality of mining. This is a 1660 super rig I have. Excuse me. This was on a Lithium. So leaving this on for certain days, certain periods of time when there's certain things going on the network, the theory that it averages out to 100 consistently is not true. So there's some things that are being left on the table if we follow, the strict dogma. So what can we do? We can go out, we can hop around into these places and get on certain pools. Well, it's kind of risky. I'm used to pool. What if I don't get a block? What if I don't get these things? Well, it's wintertime and we're mining for free. So now's the time to play around, see which one of your rigs can hit, see which one doesn't hit well, because that will be different. If we look down here, these are two 3080s, two 3070 Ti's. So this rig never hits. I mean, it never hits. 3060, it can average 80 some days pretty easy. This rig, it can smash blocks. I'm not going to say why I know, why it does it, I don't know. But it consistently can hit blocks. It's a 10 card 1660 on a Z590 Asus. So there's nothing special about this board at all, about these cards at all, about my network. Some things just talk better. So just a heads up on that. There's a tremendous amount of variables, and I'm going to try to get a better quality video out on this. But I want to use my last go around, because it's the freshest in my head, to kind of show you a strategy that I use that works. So let's take a look here. What's my time to find here? So time to find, roughly a month, right? So every month I would theoretically hit one block. Let's see what we got here. So I'll switch on and off a pool. You can see here my first block. That's interesting. It was 11 days ago, but it took 11 days to find that. Full time I turned on during some network conditions that I'm about to show. Oh, excuse me, that was actually this one. So I'm just silly all around. This took me about 11 days. This took me, I switched to pool for a while after I hit that. Saw the network do a very similar thing, and switched back on to solo and hit this like 3 days later. I've been doing that with Alf most of the summer, and switching back. So what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for a website now. Here we go. Okay. So on this Poolbay.io website, we're going to pull up net hash rate, and so these are your hash rate is chartable. I guess that's something that I see that's not necessarily common knowledge. This is, just like a price chart or a futures chart or a spot chart or anything else. We got our simple 50 MA, and what are we doing? We're tracking miners' commitment to this network over time by hash rate. So that can be emotional, that can be based on news, that can be based on speculative price appreciation, any number of factors. What am I looking for to hit solo? So this is the total network of all of Radiant, not any specific pool, anything like that. I'm looking for that. So it's going to reject or break it, just like a price chart. So I'm very interested right in here. And that's when I switch on. So I get excited in the Reddits. I say, oh my God, I'm about to, switch on to Radiant solo. I guess it doesn't make a lot of sense if you're not playing around with this, but you can kind of see we're close to the bottom hash rate. Down here we got the lowest hash rate on the network that's been seen since here. So what does that mean? That means my yields go up. Why do your yields go up? That means there's less miners mining. We still have that 288, we're rounding up to 300 for the amount of blocks per day. So it's going to be dispersed among less miners, right? So your particular personal odds of that share that you solved being the one that signs the block. Now these are all general terms. I'm not saying this is how Radiant works. Don't get married to a network. These are just very general broad strokes. During this time, I'm going to switch to solo. What I should have done here and didn't for the purpose of this video, I was waiting for this to break. I should have switched off right around here as soon as this started to go up. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Boom, there we go. Okay, so what should I have done? Saw this uptrend. As you can see here, very clear drop. Off a cliff, off a cliff. These may not be miners turning off, or it could be any number of things. It could be an FPGA update firmware thing, could be a large farm that was on it that shut off. This is Radiant, so what do you got? E300s, you've got, oh, I'm terrible with these. K50, K something, but it can switch on and off. So something similar algorithm may have went up in price. They switch over to that for a little bit. So what are we doing? We're going to pick up the crumbs. When this falls, when you see this peak, this is the time to turn on. So you're going to notice that sometimes during this network, as soon as it starts to go down here, what are we looking at? 64 terahash up to 84. So we're dropping 20 terahash. If we look at it from here, we're going down 25%. If we look at it from this angle going up, we're going up 30% backwards, right? So that's a big difference. I have had the best luck across multiple networks of timing this. So when I see this start to get to a 50 on the MA, I say, holy smokes, pretty good chance, because we're in a decline here, that's going to drop off. And it does. So let's look here, 108 terahash to 70. What's our day difference? 2 days. So October 2nd, 108 terahash, October 4th, 70. That's a drastic drop in your potential to hit. So what I would do, what I have been doing, when I see this start to fall, right about here, I'm switching on to Solo. So Viper is nice, and the reason that I use them, started out to use them for this one, is the way that their ports are set up. So it's very easy for me to go in, switch from port 68 to port 67, and that's the difference on Solo to Pool. So it's not staying on Solo consistently this whole time. Most networks, you are going to average out. Now, as before, now's the time to test that theory. I would not test out your first Solo run on Radiant. Now, why is that? Because it takes a month to find a block. So let's say you got something off. Maybe you've got a rig that you can solve shares, you can contribute to the pool, and you can pull out. Now, you can go into most pools and see, did I actually sign a block, even if I'm not solo mining? So if you've got something like that, that's a great way to test if you should be solo mining. You go hop on the pool mining, run it long term, see if you sign any blocks. If you're on there, okay, so this is Radiant. Let's say you're on there 3 months on pool, you don't sign any blocks. You probably don't want to solo with that rig. You know, the maths ain't mathin', I think, as some funnier people than me online say. So I'm sorry if this is all over the place. A little bit different format, so I'm trying to polish it as much as we can in one single run. So something a little better to start out with would be, you know, well, let's just see, this doesn't cover, this is a little bit older website. It's from, is that from 2Miners? I think it's from 2Miners. So it doesn't have, you know, a lot of the newer algos and whatnot on it, or some of the smaller cap ones, but it's pretty nice. You can put in your cards, whatnot, come down here, get some real basic statistics. What do we got here? We want to play around. Good old Raven. So 10 card 1660 rig, that's 30 days here, 2,500. Now I know this block reward is 2,500, so it should take me that one about a month to hit. Well, yeah, here we go. So probably not what we want to do. Let's see. Is there one? Oh, there's not really one we can hit 2L on here. Let's try Narai. I'm not familiar with this one so much. So this is a little bit better. So here we go. 1 block per week. So I would still want something that I could hit, you know, in 1 day. So you want to go across different networks. If you can hit multiple solo blocks a day, that's where you want to start testing at. So that's the network, excuse me. So you want to test different rigs, different overclocks. There's a lot of variables that go into actually, you know, signing that block. Each time is giving you the best chance to do it. So you want to play around, see what you can hit, see what you can average, see what you can average. What you can't hit, that's going to give you the best practice with the least amount of risk. Now, let's go into the pool. So this is the actual solo pool for Radiant on Viper. So what am I kind of looking for when I want to turn on? What has been happening recently? Let's go over here. All right, so here is our network difficulty, right? This is the amount of blocks we've hit per day. So you can see here as this difficulty starts to go down, this day 4 blocks, this day before it 2, 6, 5, pulling back for 4, 9. This is the day that you want to be on. So you want to be on when that network starts to go down. You want to find the pool that's steady. So this is Viper Solo Pool. So let's go back. Oh no! Go back to here and look at our Viper Solo Pool. Now we're dealing with September. So what are we looking at? We're looking at 1.6 to 1.5. That's a pretty steady pool. If this continued here from under a gigahash, terahash, excuse me. So up to 4 terahash. Now we're quadrupling the size of that pool. You'll see this in Raven a lot. Really anything that NiceHash is trying to solo, they kind of do a similar thing. So if this pool that I want to go on is 4 terahash to 1 terahash, 4 terahash to 1 terahash, there's another strategy there, and I'll cover that in the next video. I want to try to make a more polished version of this. I just wanted to get this out. A few people have been asking for it. So we've got our steady pool here, and we've got our network hash rate dropping. Now this is going up. Like I said, I should have turned off here, switched over to pool if I wanted, maybe clean some rigs, popped on back here, turned off here. That's kind of the strategy, because you can see you're a candidate for this luck run on these blocks. You can see how they're all up. Now you capitulate some days, you'll come back down. That's absolutely normal to average out. So, alright, maybe this is all bullcrap. It's not. I'm not the only one doing this, so by a long shot. Let's take a look here. This is one pool, one algo for solo. Now, over time, the pool is going to average 100%. This guy's probably running full time, maybe not. I don't know any of the stories on these. But look at what the individual luck of the people hitting is. This guy was hit at 4. This guy hit at 183. You rarely see the ones above it. And I'm not saying those don't exist. There's people that just go onto the pool full time, and maybe you didn't test it. Maybe your network's not quite as talking to the node properly as it should. There's a lot of variables. If you want to find, if you want to get into fine tuning, which is a little bit more important, because we're trying to reduce the time of everything in getting that block. You can really go down like into the individual level of the card. What card is hitting on this rig? What makes this rig hit so well as opposed to others? It's not always an easy answer, and it's not always a direct answer. A lot of things get kind of abstract. I think, in mining in general, I think the assumed, standard kind of, I hate to keep using the word, but the dogma, that's it's not a bad thing. It's a learning model. It's a technique. It's a lot like the Bohr's model of the atom. You got the proton, the neutron, you got the electrons hanging out in a circle around it. Well, that's not how an atom operates at all. They run in orbitals. They run in different directions. They're more balloon-shaped. Most atoms that you find are ionized in some way. There's a lot of variables, and we talk about averages. And if we start to take those averages and say that those are facts, well, that's not true. That's we're going to leave a little bit on the table. So, in general, I hope this kind of helped. I'm not saying we're done, but I know I'm a little bit all over the place. And this is even with notes, so could have been worse. But here's what we're looking for. We're looking for a steady pool that doesn't have large players manipulating it. We're looking for a project that you believe in, whether you're going to swing trade that. Maybe it's down in price, which will generally bring the hash rate down a little bit, something of that nature. When you see that network hash rate drop, and you've got that steady pool, it may be worth switching over for a short period of time to solo, and see how often you can hit these blocks. Now, you can be, okay, well, I'm hitting some blocks I want to stay on. If you've got a situation where you're hitting a block 3 blocks a day. Okay, play that out, see where you fail, see where it doesn't become that anymore. If it does, some networks, so ALF, that 1660 Super Rig, I can leave it on 100% of the time, full tilt, never take it off the solo pool, and it will long-term average, on a good week, under 70, or around 70, 71%. On a bad one, about 80. Um, so I would just suggest explore. See what works, see what doesn't. It's going to be different for everyone. And some rigs are just fire, and some aren't. Some do not like to sign. I'm not going to pretend to know why that is, or um, get into a long technical discussion. This is a little more abstract discussion. Um, there's a lot of different ways. I'm on a gaming PC, so maybe somebody's on a mining board. Within the gaming PC realm, I've got splitters, running multiple cards. Is that connected to the main PCI lane that talks directly to the CPU? Is it connected to one of the, lower tangential PCI lanes that's going to go through the board chipset and then to the CPU? Is my LAN cable cracking? Do I have network dropouts? Not total dropouts. Am I losing packets? Am I getting a lot of stale shares? Is my overclocks based on a locked core? Is it based on a power limit? Is it based on a core offset? Every algorithm is a little bit different. Once again, not in accepting shares, but accepting the correct share that signed that block. And there's just a lot of variables that can be gone into to kind of get to a technical understanding. But that's not what I'm going to a practical, when can I hit blocks that I should not hit? And since the merge, I have been doing this on Raven, Ethereum Classic. Those are fun because they're long shot blocks. It's kind of fun with these two. It's exciting to hit something that you should hit once a month. In such a short period of time. It does also get very exciting, if I were to come on to ALF and see these runs. So sometimes I'll have, I'll turn it on for half a day, turn it off, and the network didn't do what I thought it would, and that's where you'll see some of these. Typically, if I were to leave it on and run it straight, I would never see this 287. I would see this. I would see a 128 sometimes. That's pretty high. I don't know what was going on with the network that day. But once again, if I've got a run of these on a longer network, maybe I hit one a week, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and switch to pool. There is a certain amount of luck. This is just about timing. When does this network go down on a static pool that I can connect good with and have low milliseconds? So the ping time, all the standard things that would matter, to solo mining, and some of those things I didn't cover because I assume they're just standard. If you're interested in solo mining, I kind of assume you're already keeping an eye on your milliseconds. But if not, stay tuned. I do want to get a better mic and get this formatted a little more appropriately with some more data. But the main takeaway. Test out. It's winter time. This is the time to kind of see what works and what doesn't. But you can make a lot better luck with some very small inputs. Based on reading the network hash rate. It's nothing very technical. It's just ratios. How much of the network am I today? Okay. How much of the network is my pool today? And it's lining those things up. So if you've got a semi-static pool, your network hash rate is dropping, my hash rate is generally staying the same, those equal better chances. And it's just about finding the time for those better chances. A lot of variables, but so like today, I could switch over. Do not trust these numbers, first of all. A lot of these are affiliated with the people that are promoting them online. So just I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm saying that it makes this become, in the eyes of some, something that's better or more reliable than another website offering the same information. So look around. But you know, I can switch over to pool, break even on this, which is what I will be doing, and I'll be keeping an eye on this hash rate. If I see a sharp downtrend here, I'll probably switch back on to pool, or excuse me, on to solo, because this is where I want to be on solo. I want to see when this is going, and I want to ride that all the way down. And I generally would kind of stay on during this time, but I already should have been off. I should have been off around here, but it has been crazy. So I hope this was of some help to you in some way. Once again, I apologize for the mic and a little bit of rambling, but it's not something that I feel can really be directly stated, do this, do this, do this, and you'll hit some blocks, because that's just simply not the case. It's playing around with a few parameters and knowing that it's very luck based. So all the best, happy hashing, and hope everybody's doing awesome. And hope somebody, at least somewhere, found any bit of this useful in some way. So, peace.